guys, it's Nyra. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. Let me start by saying, hey. Hello, people. Whenever I ask you guys what kind of videos you want to see from me, or if I do a poll, y'all are always like story times. And so I'm like, oh, F me doing my makeup, right? Like, just forget about that. No one cares. We want to hear you run your mouth, whatever. Y'all just love to hear me talk. So here we go. First, I want to say go ahead and subscribe if you haven't, and hit me up on the gram. And I also just want to disclaim this immediately. This is not a clickbait story time. The title is not clickbait. This is not fake. This is not made up. So let me start the story with a very, very specific preface.
I am afraid of guns.
I went to a gun range one time. We went because my sister wanted to go for her birthday. Weird thing to do to celebrate your birthday, but who am I to judge? I literally just judged it. But anyways, we went to a gun range because that's what she wanted to do for her birthday. And it was terrible. I had a bad time. I shot a revolver one time and I wanted to die. I have a huge fear of guns. I don't like them. I don't like what they're capable of. I just can't. I can't with guns.
I like can't with guns.
Just let that be known, okay? So I moved here in August. So I've been living here in North Carolina about 7 months. I moved from Maryland, and I moved here because Paul is in the military. He was stationed here. And when I first moved here, I was here by myself for about 2 to 3 months. I think maybe closer to 2, we'll say 2.5. Around 2.5 months I was here living alone when I first moved because Paul was at airborne school learning how to jump out of planes. So I lived alone. When I moved in, I didn't really meet the neighbors. Actually, my first time meeting my neighbor was when this incident happened. So yeah, this happened on a Saturday, and I remember that because Paul was like, not like, he didn't have like school or anything on Saturdays when he was at airborne school, but this specific Saturday they had them doing something early that day. I don't remember if they had a jump or something or whatever, but they were doing something that Saturday. And then later on in like around noon, he called me and was like, hey, I'm all done. So yeah, and I remember being irritated that we couldn't speak all day because Saturday was the days that we like spoke all day. But Saturday, that was a Saturday, and I had ordered Chinese food from Grubhub, and it was nasty. It was disgusting when I got it. I never ordered from there again since then. But anyway, yeah, I was waiting for my Chinese food to get here, so I went downstairs, and I was standing by my front door. I had opened the front door so that when I saw them pull up, I could like help them locate what house they were delivering to. And I was standing in front of my front door with the door wide open, and the screen door was shut. So you could see into my house. You could see that I was standing by the front door. And I had my iPad on FaceTime with Paul on the stairs, like facing me. So I'm standing in front of the front door, and my neighbor's car pulls up, and he sees me. I don't remember if he waved or not. What does that even matter? That doesn't contribute anything to the story. But I know that he saw me. So he pulled up and he saw me standing in front of the front door, and he walks in his house. Nothing's unusual. So I'm standing by the door. Let's say I'm standing like right here and the front door is behind me. I'm facing my iPad, which is on the stairs like this. So say I'm standing right here. All I did was back up. I stepped back a few steps, and then something you hear a big like boom, like it was so loud, and then something like flies in front of me, and then all of a sudden I see like these white like dust thing, like it looks like somebody like the ceiling came in or something, and it was like, you know, like a poop. It was like a little explosion. So my first thought is something just exploded. I don't know if like something in my kitchen exploded or something, you know what I mean? So I immediately like stepped out of the house because I'm like, if something just caught fire or exploded or something in there, I don't want to be in the house if it, you know, that, I don't know. It was my first time like hearing, it was a gunshot. It was my first time hearing like a gunshot, because when I went to the gun range, obviously I had like the little ear things on. It was like muffled. So I don't know what the heck the sound was, but it was really loud. And yeah, it was really loud. It was like super weird. And then I just see like white stuff. And so I come out of the house, and as soon as I step out of my house, my neighbor is running from like next door, because our house is like connected. So he comes out of his house and he flies into my house. And I was like, did you just go in my house? And so he's like looking at my walls. And at this point, I don't notice anything. And I still don't know that it was a gunshot. So he's like looking at my walls. And then I see him like on this side of the living room. And then it registers. Something came from his house through this wall all the way through my living room and through there, like through the other wall of my living room. And I was like, even then still, it didn't register to me that it was a gunshot. So he's like in there like as if he's like trying to get like the bullet out of the wall. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, are you okay? Like, are you okay? He's like freaking out. And like I said, it didn't register to me that it was a gunshot. So I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. What, I don't know what just happened. And he's like, my gun just went off. My gun just shot through the wall. And I saw you standing there when I pulled up. So I was afraid that it shot through the wall and hit you because I literally just pulled up and saw you sitting by the front door. And I was like,
oh my goodness.
So he's like apologizing like crazy. He's like, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I don't know how that happened. My gun had some problems before it was doing that, but I thought I fixed it, blah, blah, blah. He's like apologizing like crazy. And I'm like freaked out. Like we're standing outside my house and he's just like apologizing like crazy. And I'm like I just need a minute because like I said, I'm terrified of guns and like my worst fear is like face to face. Like I literally almost like got shot. If I wouldn't have stepped back from where I was standing, I would have got shot. So this whole time we're like outside talking and he's just apologizing to me like crazy. Like, are you sure you're okay? Like, is everything fine? Like, I'm so sorry this happened. My iPad is still in the house with Paul on FaceTime. So he's on FaceTime like, what just happened? So I go back in the house and I tell him what happened. And Paul's like, what the F? Like, that's crazy. Like, guns don't just go off. Like, obviously, Paul would know. Like, he's in the military. He's like, no, guns don't just go off like that. Like, that's ridiculous. Paul's getting really upset about it. Then the guy comes back over to my house, and he's, like, apologizing. But now he's, like, trying to guilt trip me. He's like,
please don't call the police. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, oh, I really can't afford if you call the police right now.
And so I'm like, this is so sketchy. Like, if it was an honest mistake, why is it such a big deal if I call the police? But, then he came back over to my house like maybe 3 or 4 times that night alone, to the point where I was like, don't knock on my door again. If I want to speak about it and when we're ready to deal with it, I'm going to come to you. His wife had came over at one point and his wife was like, look, like I understand that you need to, that you might want to report it to the police, but he's disabled. So we're on disability. We'll lose our money. He'll go to jail and I'm in school right now, like 10 hours a day. So I can't really blah, 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 right? I'm not working. I'm in school. And I'm kind of like, y'all are trying to guilt trip me. Like, what about the fact that he almost shot me? Are we going to ignore that? Because, you know, like, because you don't want to mess up things in your life. And also, you cannot see all disabilities. He was not physically disabled from what I could see. He was not physically disabled. And that's when I noticed that the disability was something mental. You know what I mean? They did later end up telling that too. Like, it wasn't like a physical disability. You know, it was more like a PTSD thing because he is ex-military. So he's ex-military, PTSD, and collecting a disability check. So most likely me calling the police and saying that he shot through my wall will put that in jeopardy. You know? So that's what their worry was. They don't want to lose their money. So forget the fact that I almost got shot, right? So we're like, Paul will deal with this. Paul will help me deal with this when he gets home. We'll talk to you guys when he gets home in 2 weeks. 2 weeks passes and we, you know, we are discussing it, but we were hesitant about everything because, not to label or stereotype anybody with mental illnesses or PTSD, but we know that this is someone who is so unstable mentally they legally can't be employed anywhere and they have to live on disability. So I don't want to anger him by calling the police. Like, if I'm just being 100% honest with y'all, I don't want to anger him by calling the police.
This is in no way to be like stereotypical or offensive to anybody who has PTSD. I understand it's a very serious mental illness. I deal with mental illness myself, different, but you know, I deal with mental illness. I deal with depression and anxiety. I understand it. Like, I'm not like being sarcastic or like I completely understand it's very serious, but I'm just, you know, being real with you guys and let you know that the fact that he did have PTSD, and a lot of times people with PTSD have like a history to like act out in violence because of things that they've been through, it made me hesitant.
Knowing that he has weapons in his house, number one. Number two, karma is not my job. It is not my job to punish this guy for the mistake he just made. Like, that's not, you know, that's not my job. But I was thinking, when I move out, or if I have to have maintenance or my leasing office come into my unit for anything, they're gonna look at these holes and I'm gonna lose my security deposit. If they realize they're bullet holes, they're gonna question me. I'm gonna be, you know, I'm putting myself in jeopardy trying to protect people, you know. Everybody can't be a hero. So yeah, we were really hesitant, but Paul was talking to the guy, and the guy was basically like trying to guilt trip him the same way he was trying to guilt trip me. So we were like, obviously talking to y'all isn't helping. We have to come up with a decision on our own. So we were talking about it amongst ourselves, and while we were deciding what we wanted to do, report it to the police, report it to the leasing office, whatever, we were having other issues in our townhouse, like doorknobs upstairs, AC, something with the fridge, you know, stuff like that. So we had them come in to fix those things. And so the day that this guy comes, Paul and I are really like upstairs, not paying him any attention. At the time, we didn't have any like furniture or anything of value in the house because we had just moved in. So it was like, you know, we just left him downstairs to do his job. So he calls us downstairs before he goes, and he's showing us everything he fixed. Okay, I fixed these doorknobs, I fixed this, I fixed that. I went ahead and patched those holes that were in the wall. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. So now I'm in a very sticky situation because the leasing office, not knowing what was going on, or the guy that was working for the leasing office doing maintenance thought that was a part of the list of things we needed fixed and fixed them. And my biggest thing was I need to protect myself because I have 2 holes in the place that I'm renting. So now my biggest reason for reporting them has kind of gone out the window. So now I'm like, do I still report them to the leasing office or to the police, or what? Like, what do I do now? And this is all in a span of just about 3 weeks. They come to our house, not knowing that the hole is fixed at this time. They come to our house and offer to fix it for us. We're like, no, don't worry about it. They knock on the door and offer us money. They literally say to us, we will pay you for this to go away. Name your price. I was 100% against that because I was like, no, you are not going to put a price tag on my life. You know, had I gotten shot, I could have literally died. Like, that's not me being dramatic. And I was this close to being shot. Had I not stepped back at the time that I did, that bullet would have hit me. I'm not going to put a price tag on like how much my life is worth. Like, you almost shot me. And they also offer to buy us furniture. The wife knocks on the door and she's like, I'm so sorry about all this. Just please let us make it right. We'll buy you any, like, what kind of furniture are you guys looking for? Like, we'll buy it for you. And so Paul and I opened the door together when this woman is offering to buy us furniture. And we were like, we'll get back to you on that. And we like literally, and then we just like closed the door in her face. And I was like, yikes. The next day I wrote a letter and I put it on their door, and I was like, please don't solicit us with money, furniture, or anything else. We're gonna decide what we want to do, and that's that. Thank you. We're not comfortable accepting any offers. And you want to know what I ended up doing? Nothing. I did not want to be responsible for this guy losing his only form of income. Actually, his wife told me that she only went to school, but I later found out she does have a job. She does both. It's like, not only were you trying to guilt trip me, you were like lying. Like, that's so freaking weird. But yeah, I was not going to be the person responsible for this guy losing his only form of income, and he can't get a job, and he's going to go to jail because he made a mistake. You know, like, I genuinely don't think that he pulled the trigger on purpose. I really don't. So I was not going to be the one to report it to the police, even though I was terrified. Like, every time I saw them, and even now, I still, like, we still live in that same place. It still like shakes me a little. Like, it's still weird when I think about it because I am like actually afraid of guns, like, no joke. So when I see them, it's still a little bit like awkward, you know what I mean? And so now it's like kind of a joke. Like, it's not funny at all, but like if Astral's like barking really loud and we're like, oh, what if our neighbors are asleep? We're always like, what are they gonna do? Call the cops? They almost shot me. You know what I mean? And like, they don't know that the holes are patched. So for all they know, like the evidence is all still over here. I do know that the guy wasn't able to get the bullet out of the wall. So like, if you take down the wall in my living room, the bullet's down there. Like, it's in there somewhere, but the hole's patched now, so we can't get it, obviously. But yeah, my neighbor almost shot me. And I did nothing about it because I'm a pushover.
Yeah. All you self-promoters are janky. We established like the Yankees. This whole fucking game thankless. We moving militant, but somehow you the one tanking. No limit to where I could take it. And you know me as a crisp bottle sender, check picker upper. I thought we looked out for one another. Saw us all as brothers in the struggle, too blessed to be humble. I guess it's different in the city I come from. All of a sudden I got people showing how much they truly resent me.